chit chat with you fucking losers for a while and just talk about it, right? So anyway, earlier I see these like supersonic jets flying overhead, and there was like 5 or 6 of them. I'm like, what the hell is going on? They have an Air Force base here in Vegas. So, it's not like super unusual, I guess, to see military planes, but it was one after the other after the other. Like, what is happening? And they were like, oh, California's about to blow. We gotta get the big dogs out of there. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna, or they already have evacuated the elites. But it was like I was trying to tell you, dumb Beckies. I'm like, listen, they don't give a fuck about you, bitch. They don't give a fuck about you, your fucking house, your kids. They don't give a fuck about nothing, bitch. They give a fuck about their own ass, right? And protecting assets. So anyway, that happened, and then Yellowstone, which I already had fucking said, started having earthquakes again. And I'm like, they have been hiding that for years, right? That's been doing that for like 2 years. There's a big, like a land rise at Yellowstone, the size of the city of Chicago, right? And they lied about that. It was on the news, but y'all just didn't pay attention. I told you about it, but you just didn't listen to me, so there was that. And then also it's been having major earthquakes. They turned off the fucking sensors at Yellowstone like 2 years ago, or diminished them greatly, right? And y'all have seen me attack USGS over this. You have seen me come for them, right? And really call them out on that bullshit, because I'm like, bitch, Yellowstone erupts. Guess what? That's Canada, Mexico, and Babylon. Bye. Right? So I was thinking, well, maybe people would like to know about that. I don't know. But I think the reality is, since you guys live in a delusion, right? Which is like my life is a movie. Oh yeah, man, everything's fucking great in La La Land. Yeah, it's just great. Maybe you don't want to know about it. Maybe you just prefer to just die. And so that's fine, but you have to understand there are people that do want to know about it. Where am I located? Am I on Instagram? Yes, I am on Instagram. I do not really post over there anymore, but I have a channel or a page under the same name. I tried to save you idiots. So yes, I do have an Instagram. You're an Indian boy. Hello, Indian boy. Where am I located? I am currently in Las Vegas, Nevada, USA. Currently, but I have been all over the United States in the last couple of years. I've been trafficked in the Epstein ring, and so I've been to many places, but right now I'm in Las Vegas. It's my birthday today. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. You are a Cancer zodiac sign. All right, guys, are you all bots or are you real people? I can never tell because I got my whole channel's infiltrated with bots. You're a real person? Okay, good. Nice to meet you. Happy birthday. All right, good. So anyway, yeah, guys, shit's hitting the fan. Shit is hitting the fan over here in America. But you have to understand, and especially people in foreign countries, hello everybody all over the world. So I was, where am I from? I was raised in America. I was raised in the state of Georgia. Thank you. I was born in Mexico, but my birth certificate says El Paso, Texas, USA. So I'm an American citizen. I just have a fake birth certificate. And when people ask me for where I'm from, I say the United States, because that's where I was raised. But I have lived on 3 different continents. I've traveled, not extensively, but I've been around the world. I didn't get to see all the things I wanted to see, you know what I mean? And now it's kind of too late for that, but I lived in Southeast Asia on military. Well, I was a civilian, but with the military, the Middle East as well. I have lived in Europe for 5 years as well. I lived in Germany, and I traveled Europe quite a bit while I was there. So I've been a lot of places. I've been all over the Caribbean. I've been to many islands in the Caribbean, South America, Mexico many times. I don't know. I tried to go to Canada one time. This is a funny story. So I wanted to go to Canada because I was married to a trafficker from Michigan. And there's a bridge that goes from Detroit to Windsor, Canada. And he was like, yeah, let's go to Canada. We get to the border of Canada with the passports, and they stopped us at the border, and they pulled us apart. Like, they put me in a room, and they were like, you're fine, just sit in here. And they took him away, and I was like, what is going on? I had no idea, and he knew. This is the crazy part. This is narcissism, okay? He's banned from going in the country of Canada because of his criminal history, which I did not know about at the time, and I was married to him. So I only found out about his criminal history when we tried to cross the border into Canada. Isn't that so crazy? So I didn't know that he had all these felonies in his background that prevented him. They won't even let him in the country until we tried to go. And he still tried to go knowing that he was not allowed to go to Canada and knowing that he had this criminal history. You know what I mean? So anyway, I tried to go to Canada once. I couldn't get in. I could have gone in, no problem, but he could not get in, so we ended up having to go back. But yeah, that's the gist of it, guys. I've lived, I grew up in Georgia. I was, raised there, and then I moved to Texas. I went to half of high school in Texas, and I went to Germany for the rest of my high school education and into my early 20s. And then I moved to Florida after that, and I was in Florida for 23 years, I think, over 20 years. And then I had to leave Florida. I was chased out of Florida for exposing corruption. Bangladesh is in India, right? I want to go there. I wish I could have gone there in this lifetime, but I didn't get to go. It's sad. I had a lot of friends from India in my life. Just over the years, I tend to get along pretty well with people from India. I had a lot of clients, and when I had my business, because I do the readings and magic and stuff, and they really like that there. They believe in spirituality, they believe in anointed beings. They believe in psychic abilities. They have a lot more of India is a lot more spiritual than the U.S. The U.S. is not spiritual. They only look at black magic and things, but India, they have a much deeper connection to spirituality. So a lot of my clients, when I had my business, my best clients really were from India or of Indian descent. But I also had friends from India as well in my life. You are Bangladeshi man and you like my English? Thank you. That's so funny. Hello. I like your English too. That's cute. Yeah, so I've been around the world a little bit, not as much as I wanted to, but I did get to, go on different places and things like that. I guess I'm lucky. Why shouldn't I laugh? You don't want me to laugh? I'm laughing because it's the end of the world and I love it. I'm happy because now guys, I'm in the Epstein ring. I'm a victim. So guess what that means? I don't have to be in the Epstein ring anymore. All of my traffickers are going to die. So that's good. That's good for me. And maybe I will too, right? But that's okay. I'm fine with that, right? I don't want to be on this planet anymore. I'm done. After being in America for 44 years and being subject to their evil and torture, I am done with planet Earth. I'm done with it, I don't. Have you been to America? Has anybody here been to America? Or are you American? If you haven't, you didn't miss anything. All they have here is food. They do have good food, but that's it. You want to go to Italy, but here is not a perfect way to go to my dream country. Italy, That's funny. I never made it to Italy either, and I lived in Germany, so I lived very close, but I did not get to go either. Um, yeah, I don't know where you are. Where'd you say you are? Bangladesh. Yeah, that's a tough flight. Asia to Europe. I don't know. I don't know what's longer. Like when I flew to Southeast Asia, the flight total time in the air, maybe? I don't remember. I think it was about 27 hours to Afghanistan. So I don't know. But for me, coming from here, I went from Florida to Indiana in the States. And then from Indiana, shit. I think I went directly from Indianapolis to Germany, and the plane stops there. And then we took a break and put more fuel in the plane. And then from Germany to Kuwait, and then Kuwait to Bagram. So yeah, it's a long, long, long flight. It took me, I think, probably 5 days total to get there. Right now, I'm in Las Vegas. But I don't have a home. I just get moved around the country. I don't have like an address or a house or anything. I just get, I move from state to state to state. But right now I am in Las Vegas. But I have been to, in the last 2.5 years, I started in St. Petersburg, Florida, Tampa, and then Savannah, Georgia, Fayetteville, North Carolina, Clinton, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, Charleston, West Virginia for 1 day, Columbus, Ohio for several months, Chicago, Illinois, Phoenix, Arizona, Tucson, Arizona, and now Las Vegas. I think I got everything. Oh, Albuquerque for 1 day as well. So right now, Vegas. And it's very, very, very hot. Is it hot where you guys are? How's the sun in Bangladesh? It's terrible, I know. Germany to Qatar and the Indian airport. Yeah, exactly. That's the same. It's that same exact route. You go Europe to the Middle East and then to Southeast Asia. Yeah, I was in the same boat. Yep. So yeah, it's like at least three legs. For me anyway, when I traveled there, but it was a little bit different because I was with the military. So I don't know commercial how that differs as far as like the different legs, but I would imagine it's every 6-8 hours or so, 10 hours maybe they stop the plane or you get a new plane or whatever. You have to do a different leg because the plane can only hold so much gas. If I could leave the US right now, I'm next to the Las Vegas airport. If I could leave the US right now, it would be my dream to leave. I've tried to leave the US. I tried to flee, but they took my passport. Because I was telling on the US government, I was trying to expose the corruption, and so they won't let me leave. But I would love to leave. I would love to come to Bangladesh. I would do that in a second. Yes, I would. I would go anywhere really other than here. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. But yeah, Italy, I wanted to go to Italy too. I've seen so many videos, online of Italy and all of the beautiful things there. And plus the food is supposed to be very, very good in Italy too. Can I teach you any words in my own language? You speak English though. Are you using a translator? You're speaking very good English. I can. I don't know. What kind of words do you want to know? I mean, clearly you speak English. You want to know different words? trying to think of something unique. Let me see if I have anything that I can use for inspiration. That is how I learned German. Was I had a family that was German, and there was a little kid in the family, and so I used to just grab something and say, "Was ist das? Wie sagst du das? Was ist das? Was ist das?" Which is what is this? How do you say that? And she would tell me the name of, well, this she probably wouldn't know, but little things like this, the cup, the coffee, the Buch, things like that. And so I started learning German words that way before I learned how to put it together. I don't know any words that are like new. Do you know this thing? This is an earbud, earphone, glasses, necklace. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I could teach you special words, but I got to think of some. Did I ever come to India? I wish. I wanted to go to India. I didn't get to go. I did not get to go. No, I was not allowed. I'm trafficked, so I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed to leave America. I have to stay here. And again, I don't know why they think this is like the right thing to do, but they, like I said, they took my ID, they took my passport, they took my cards, they shut my business. I don't have any way. They won't let me work. So I have no way to make money to even get out of the country. I did try to reach out to foreign governments to seek asylum from America, but it was blocked. All of it was blocked for whatever reason. I'm trafficked by like very rich elites, by very high level, like the president and higher, like those types of people in the Epstein ring. And so they have a lot of power, so they wouldn't allow me to leave the country. Have I met Trump? Face to face, no, but like I've never had a conversation with Trump, no, but I have met several presidents, yes. The Clintons I've met, Barack Obama, as well as, let me think if I've met anybody else. Joe Biden, I was invited to go to a private concert that only had a few people there. It was Jimmy Buffett, and he was in the same concert as me, but I didn't talk to him. So I've met many presidents, but Donald Trump, my dealings with him were more, I worked for the Epstein family in law in Florida. I had nothing to do with like sex trafficking or anything like that. The Epstein family also has law firms. Like some of the people in the family are lawyers, but they have a lot of real estate investments. So and other business investments, right? So my job was, I was a legal assistant. I worked with the lawyers, and we did the contracts and all of that stuff. So I have dealt with Donald Trump in the legal field multiple times. Like Trump Towers Tampa was one of the projects that I worked on. It never came to fruition. It never got finished being built. He just jumped ship. Took the money and ran. That type of energy. But I did work on that project with Donald Trump, and then he was a client of the last, yeah, exactly. He was a client of the last law firm that I worked at as well, which was Holland and Knight, which was a big law firm. Where in Florida? Well, I lived for the 20 years. I started in Tampa, And then I went back and forth between Tampa, St. Pete, and Sarasota. That was my whole, like the Tampa Bay area was where I lived the whole time I was there. But you know, I lived in different places, starting in Tampa and then moving to Sarasota, and then eventually Pinellas County is where I lived in the last 10 years that I was there. After I got back from Afghanistan, I wanted to move to Pinellas County because I like the beaches there. And it was just, when I lived in Sarasota, Manatee, I would always come to Pinellas to go out, basically, to go to dinner, to go, you know, they had a really cute, like, downtown area. The beaches were really fun and nice. And so when I got back from Afghanistan, I said, okay, I'm going to move to Pinellas. And so that's where I lived from 2012 until I had to leave, which was 20... I don't even know the years anymore. 2024. I think I left in September, maybe 24. I don't know. I would have to go back and look at the Greyhound tickets. Pinellas, it was, yeah. Yeah, Sarasota used to be beautiful. Tampa was really fun. When I lived there, I was in my early 20s. I moved there directly from, well, not directly. I lived in other places in the States, like Tennessee for 6 months. And then I stayed with my grandmother for a couple of months when I got back from Europe. But I was in Europe for 5 years, and I was about 21 years old. And I moved back to the States from Germany. And so, like I said, I lived in Tennessee for about 6 months, and then I moved to Florida. And when I moved to Florida, I moved to Tampa first. And I was going to work at MacDill Air Force Base, but I ended up working in law instead. And at the time, Tampa was really fun. Like, especially for young 20s, you know, there was a really good job market. You could get jobs, I mean, especially in law, like really fast, because Tampa has more lawyers per capita than any other city in the world, or at least it used to. So jobs in the legal field were really easy to get, you know, and if you did well, you could make a lot of money, which is what ended up happening with me. I progressed in the legal field just because it was very prevalent in Tampa. But, you know, I had a fun time there initially. You spent a few weeks in Germany. You love the beer. Yeah. Yeah, the beer's good. Where were you at in Germany? And where are you in Florida, if I can ask? Berlin. That's fun. You know, it's funny. I never did go to Berlin. Isn't that funny for work? That's fun. Yeah, I've seen again, like, ich bin ein Berliner. You know, I watch YouTube videos of people traveling a lot, but living vicariously through them, you know. But where in Germany was I? I was in a city called Darmstadt, which is like close to Frankfurt in Hessen. You're in Orlando? Oh my God. I had an annual pass to Disney for 15 years of the 20 something years I was in Florida. So I was in Orlando a lot. And I had friends that had like properties and stuff there. I've spent quite a bit of time in Orlando, primarily Disney. 95% of my time in Orlando was Disney. But I'm very familiar with Orlando. I was there quite a bit. I mean, before I had my daughter, I used to go to Orlando like every other weekend, you know. I was there because I was going to Disney with my pass, you know. But yeah, no, I definitely, and we used to have a lot of fun in Orlando as well, but I don't know, it's just everything went really dark with like Ron DeSantis, you know. For me, anyway. I don't know about everybody else, but am I in the gym right now? No, I'm in a coffee shop. I know if the music is loud, I'm sorry. I can't control it. Yeah, Orlando used to be a good time as well. I used to love going to Disney. Ron DeSantis is my enemy. He's one of my many, many, many enemies. Many enemies. The whole U.S. government is my enemy. But yeah, no, DeSantis hates my guts and I hate him. We are very much, because again, I called out the corruption, and they don't like that, right? They will try to kill you. So that's what happened. They had me thrown in jail and they tried to kill me and it didn't work. And then I had to leave Florida. But Ron DeSantis, it was crazy with Ron because he sent his goons after me. It was a complicated situation. It goes back a lot further than just like random stuff, right? Like I said, I had dealings with these politicians my whole life, but I worked with the government 17 years in law and these big law firms as well in Florida. So I had interactions with all different kinds of like high-level people like that. And I never dealt with DeSantis directly, to be totally fair, to be totally honest about it. I never had he wasn't a client. I don't even know where that motherfucker came from. Like, he says he's from Tampa, but he's not. He's a fucking New Yorker or some shit. I truly don't know where DeSantis is from. And he just kind of like popped on the scene after, who was governor? Charlie Crist? And the crazy part about that is that I was working in St. Pete, and that's where Charlie Crist is from. I was Charlie Crist's wife. He was married to a lady named Carol Crist, and I was her personal paralegal. Like, truly, I mean, she was in my office every day with me, sitting at my desk every day, and so I knew the Crists well. I knew Charlie's dad. I had a good relationship with them, and then here comes Ron DeSantis all of a sudden trying to fucking kill me. It was like the craziest thing. So anyway, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck Ron's deal was with me, but I think the CIA told him that he was allowed to do anything he wants to me and my daughter, and that would be fine. And so he got his goons together, and he was hanging out in Florida with Vladimir Putin, and more, right? And so my daughter is missing. Nirvana, no, I do not believe that she is in Florida. No, I don't think so. But she was kidnapped by DeSantis, by the goons, right? It was really by because we're in the Epstein ring, so it's the FBI that runs the ring. So she could be anywhere, right? I do not know where she is. I had a suspicion that possibly she's in DC. But I truly don't know where my daughter is. I do know that I'm 99.9% certain that she is not in Florida. They cannot produce her. And the ex, I was trafficked in this marriage to her. It's not her biological father, but it's the Biden family. And so people will come on here and say oh, she's with her father and No, I need proof of life. That I never lost custody of my daughter. I was whistleblowing about us being in the Epstein ring, being trafficked, and they threw me in jail. And then when I was in jail, she went missing, right? But there was never a time where a court, ordered me to lose custody of her or said that I could not speak to her or have access to her. She was, I was able to FaceTime with her when she was at her dad's house, 1 minute. And then when I got out of jail, she was gone. I had given her an iPad, so I was able to, keep in touch with her. But it was dark. It was missing. I was never able to reach her again. And that was over 2 years ago. She has been missing without a trace. And the FBI knows where she is. But I guess whoever kidnapped her feels like they have some sort of right, to have her or keep her. I don't know. But that's not the case. She's my biological daughter. I never lost custody of my kid. There was never even a question about that. She was truly kidnapped, truly snatched, and went missing. And no police officers will help me because it's the Epstein ring. They all work for the politicians, and the FBI, of course, is running the ring. So I don't know. You would think that with all of this mayhem and debauchery, they would be willing to return her to me and allow us to leave the country, as part of witness protection, because I am a whistleblower, former federal employee, right? She's 11. She just turned 11 May 26th. May 26th is her birthday. But they feel like they don't need to do that, and who's going to stop them? It's, the stance that the regime is taking. It's you can see Trump doing it on the news, right? Where he says, oh, I think I'm going to take Greenland today, or, oh, I think I'm going to do this, oh, I'm going to take over the Strait of Hormuz, and they're going to be paying me, to manage it. I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that. They have narcissistic delusion where they believe that they are entitled, right? Because they have this, they have the nukes, number one, and then they have the Epstein blackmail, right, on all of the other world leaders. And so they believe that they're like, well, if I say that I'm going to invade your country today and take all of your things and kill all your people, that's what I'll be doing, right? And that's how they operate. It's they're Nazis. You have to understand, this is just the continuation of Adolf Hitler's the Reich. So Adolf Hitler was the Third Reich. America now is the Fourth Reich, but over 90% of the citizens, adults here in the U.S. are part of the Fourth Reich. They're Nazis because they joined these criminal organizations with the politicians, with the government. And so it's like a cult, basically, the whole country. And so they are participating, and they were told that they're allowed to do anything they want and just get away with it. So they're committing all of these crimes, fraud. I mean, if you look at all the stuff I'm talking about here on YouTube, for instance, Vegas is out of water, like the whole town's going to shut down, they're going to lose everything. How does that happen? And it's just because they're allowed to commit crime after crime after crime, and they have no accountability because they made a pact that nobody will get arrested, nobody will go to jail, nobody will ever have to face any consequences. Which, when you see me cheering that the West Coast is cracking in half and Yellowstone is erupting and Texas is flooding and all this other stuff is happening, that is why I want all of these people to die. Because the crimes that they have been committing are primarily against children and innocent victims. And so to me, they're Nazis, right? These are terrorists that have invaded my country, right, and have overthrown the law of the land, the Constitution. And so now the victims really are the animals, the children, and people who were not involved in their criminal organization like myself, and I'm not alone. I always use Britney Spears as an example, but she is also the same as me, a victim in the Epstein ring, where she is trapped, trafficked. The FBI agents, the police, they go and rape her, along with any of the elites, the politicians. The same thing happens to me. They're allowed to just do that whenever they want, and because the police are working directly for the elites, right, the celebrities, not for the people, they don't protect victims in the Epstein ring. We have had our constitutional rights stripped and our human rights stripped. So we are not subject to any, because we didn't do anything to deserve this, right? Like, I'm innocent, she's innocent, my daughter is innocent, right? And we're just a few of the victims. But they just decided, they got together as a criminal organization, the cult, and just decided that that's what they were going to be doing. And so that's what they do, right? And so when you see me cheering them on to die, that is why, right? Because I want them all dead so that we can be free, even if that means death, right? To me, I'm not afraid of death. I only fear God. So death, to me, if this West Coast blows right now, magnitude 10 earthquake, right, and everything here falls apart, right, that's a good thing for me. because I'm not afraid to die. I would rather that happen than have to be stuck in the Epstein ring, you know? So, yeah. Here is very deep night at 3 a.m., so I have to go to bed. Goodbye and good wishes for you. Aw. Okay, well, sleep well. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for being kind. I appreciate it. Have a good night. But yeah, I'm in a war, a spiritual war with America, you know, and I'm in a physical war with the Nazis. Like I have no weapons, right? I'm not even in the military. I'm at war with the U.S. military, you know, because they have also tried to kill me. And again, God is real, and people will find out about this, you know, but they have really done everything they can think of to try to murder me and shut me up, you know, so that I won't tell all their dirty secrets. But people need to know that America is a very, very corrupt, it's the most corrupt country on earth. It is worse than Haiti. It is worse than North Korea. And I'm not saying it's worse than China, right? Everybody looks at China as the most corrupt nation. No, it is the United States of America. Without a doubt, hands down, the most corrupt. And I'm not just saying that. That was my actual job. Like, that's what I did. I was anti-corruption. So I know that, right? We have something called a heat map, right? And it's a corruption heat map, and we grade each country based on certain criteria and give them like a label, like a color. So green would be almost not corrupt at all, right? Like very safe to do business with, very safe to travel to, you know, law-abiding citizens, you know, functioning law enforcement, functioning this, functioning that, right? Functioning business practices, right? Where you would be green, you know, in different areas, right? So we have green, and then we have yellow, which is, you know, obviously be careful. You know, there's some issues, but you can still do business with this country. And then we have red, which is you should not engage in business with these countries because they're too corrupt. You might get into like a business contract with them and find out that you have no legal recourse if that country or that a business in that country does not like uphold their end of the bargain, right? So it's a very high risk to engage in business with countries that are red. America is black on the corruption heat map. It is the most corrupt country on the planet Earth. And as a compliance officer, I'm looking at like all of these other companies and countries thinking, why would you engage in business with the USA? You know, I mean, it's rated black on the corruption heat map, and they still did it, you know, and I'll tell you why. Well, and the reason it's rated black, right, is because America is about easy gains and quick money, right? And it's a lot of money, right? It used to be the wealthiest nation on earth. It's not anymore, but they were the most prosperous nation on the planet Earth, the most abundant. And, you know, they had all these different businesses here, all these different industries, all of these ways to make lots and lots and lots of money. And so a lot of countries got involved with America based on the business that they were doing both here and abroad, right? Manufacturing. I mean, America is like one of the top consumers of food, of random things, electronics, everything, right? Look at Walmart, okay? So for a country like China, right, we'll just say China for an example, to engage in business with America, they're going to make a lot of money because they are manufacturing. They have manufactured, I would be willing to bet money, I know for a fact, that they made this, they made the phone I'm talking to you on, they definitely, how did I know? Made in China, sticker at the bottom, okay. They made these cards, they made this Bible, right? Let me see. Let's see. I don't know if the books have to be stamped, like that they were made in a different country. I don't see a stamp. But do you understand? At least if they didn't put the book together, they made the components, right? They made like this leather, covering and things like that. They definitely made this, my hat, my glasses, my necklace. So my clothes, these are from Walmart. So yes, this is definitely China. They probably made my vape as well. So America being what it is, which is a land of consumerism, right? It was a good way for those countries to make a lot of money as well, right? And China has grown a lot. I kind of like, it's like you look back on things and it's like, I wish they had never like done business with America. I wish nobody had ever done business with America. But America was not always this corrupt. It wasn't. We used to pride ourselves on integrity. We were known for being integritous. We're the ones that set the precedence, of integrity for a lot of the planet, right? We were the ones like when we would engage. Has Emmy ever reached out to me online? She's missing, honey. No. I tried. The only way I could think to get a hold of her, because she's little, she doesn't have like to my knowledge, an email address or a cell phone, right? So she plays Roblox. And I tried to message her on Roblox. And I think maybe even Minecraft. I don't remember if you can actually direct message on Minecraft, but on Roblox I did message her, and she did not respond. But she knows, obviously, that who I am, you know what I mean? Like, she would respond if she was able to. So, no, she's never reached out, and I have not been able to reach her at all. In every country, there is corruption. Yes. Corruption is part of the world, right? That's always going to be everywhere you go. It's just that some countries are a lot more corrupt than others, right? And ever since we had this, I would say since about 2012, probably, the U.S. really tanked in terms of corruption. And it wasn't overnight. It's not like they made it, they decided to go corrupt. They decided to become Nazis. Okay? So, there were already Nazis in the government, right? The FBI has been corrupt since inception, okay? The CIA is the most corrupt organization on Earth, all right? You cannot get more corrupt than the CIA. They are the most corrupt of any company. They're not a company, it's an organization, it's a government organization, but the CIA is the most corrupt. And the reason for that is because of the Nazis. So after World War II, right, where we fought the Nazis. America fought, the Hitler, right, and his Reich. And we brought over, when the war was done, and during the war as well, we brought over prisoners of war, but we brought Nazis here to the U.S., and we put them in different areas of the country. Texas is a big one, so when you see me, Texas is getting, right? And I'm cheering, yes, because those are Nazis, okay? God is like wiping them out. They gotta go, okay? But we have concentrations throughout the country, the Midwest, especially Columbus, Ohio, very, very, very Nazi. And these are swastika-wearing actual neo-Nazis, okay? So this isn't like a joke. This isn't like something they're doing for fun. No. These are people that believe that they are the supreme race. They're the Aryans, right? And they believe that all other races should be eradicated, right? And so that is what they have been working on in the background, right? So when you see me cheering that they are dying, this is why. This is why, because they are guilty of genocide. So anyway, they're terrorists, that's actually not allowed in the United States, but they're just doing whatever they want because Donald Trump is also a Nazi. He is their Nazi leader, and the whole U.S. government decided to become Nazis. And if you did not join the Fourth Reich, then you were pushed out of your jobs. They killed some people, they arrested some people, but basically anybody that would not join the regime was made to look like they were inept or could not do their job correctly or criminal, or, Nazis do this, right? So they create like a lie, surrounding anybody that will not help them or be part of their group or whatever. And I refused, right? I refused. I'm not doing anything corrupt or illegal. I'm not going to put my ass on the line, number one. But number two, it's immoral, and I have integrity and they don't. And so that was the problem. You see what I mean? And so I was pushed out of my career because of, and especially in compliance, where I'm in charge of making sure that they are following the law, right? And they're telling me that they're not going to be following the law, that they're just going to be doing whatever they please, right? And I'm telling them, well, that's a real good way to land yourself in prison, and I am not going to be associated, right, with you or affiliated with your corruption, right? And that's why they hate my guts. That is why Ron DeSantis wants me dead, right? And it's not just Ron DeSantis, it's the entire government of the state of Florida, the entire government of, it's all state, federal, and local governments in the country want me dead, and the police, and the FBI, which is why I should just leave the country, guys. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You feel me? But if you guys want to operate like this, right? Because of Trump, America is falling down day by day. Yeah, okay, this is another good conversation to have. Trump is an actor, guys. He's a reality TV show star, okay, who came from a wealthy family, right? His daddy gave him a lot of money, and then he had a lot of real estate that he inherited, and was able to keep the business going off of that, okay? He's nothing but a frat boy, okay? Trump is not intelligent. He's actually illiterate. He cannot read or write. So everything he has signed, since he has been president, both terms, right? He's never been able to read a contract. And this is why, like, you'll see the Nazis around him, and they hand him, like, the bills and the laws, and they have these big signing ceremonies at the Oval Office, He's scribbling if you look at his signature, it's right? Because he's illiterate. He can't read or write. So Trump is not who you think he is, right? None of them are. Basically, the entire government, all of the politicians that are forward-facing in the spotlight, right, that they put on TV, are actors. These are people that they came from all different places, but most of them come from the cult, okay? So the cult is Hollywood, and it is the elites, and it is the CIA, all right? Primarily, that's what it used to be. That's also where I come from, okay? My grandfather was the sheriff of Hollywood, okay? And the cult does all of this, like, weird stuff, okay? But they keep it in the family, basically. So the people that you see, like, all of them, okay, J.D. Vance, Mike Johnson, the ladies, all of them, okay, were from the cult, or, okay, these were people that they pulled into the cult because they wanted to be famous. So a lot of them are people that wanted to be in the movies or on TV, and they weren't quite attractive or talented enough to put on, like, a TV, right? To put in a TV show or to put in a movie. So they offered them the position of an actor in the government. Okay, so their job is to go up there, and they used to, like, memorize a script, right, and read teleprompters, right, like old style actors used to do. But the actors that they have there now in these positions, none of them are qualified for these jobs. They made up their backgrounds completely. I used to date Matt Gaetz before he was Matt Gaetz, okay, and his name was Matt Feehan. When I dated him, and he was given a brand new face, a new identity, okay? They now call him a lawyer. He's not a lawyer. He doesn't have a law degree. Neither does Pam Bondi, right? Kash Patel is not a law enforcement officer. No, he's part of the cult. You know, so was Dan Bongino, right? And that has been going on for a long time. So the CIA casts these actors into these roles, and Donald Trump, yes, I did meet my grandfather. Donald Trump is an actor. Remember, he had the reality TV shows and all of that stuff back in the day, The Apprentice, I think it was, and I don't know if he did anything else. He was in, like, Home Alone. A lot of the presidents, like Reagan was an actor, Biden also came from Hollywood. They're all from the Hollywood cult, guys. Everybody's from Hollywood, okay? And that cult is one and the same, right? So they're a big, like, that's why I call them the Diddy Party. Right? So they're just the diddlers, okay? So they have a group of people, right, where it's all celebrities and politicians, but they actually all know each other behind the scenes. You would be stunned, right? You wouldn't think that this is a thing, but no. I mean, so say, like, okay, Barack Obama and Jennifer Aniston were in a romantic relationship. They're all polygamists, by the way. So it's a polygamy cult, all right? So if you marry into the cult, which is why I didn't want to marry into the cult at all, right? I didn't want anything to do with this. But you have to be open and available to having sex with anybody in the cult. And one of the ways that they sell this to, like, the guys, for instance, is one of the benefits is that you get to fuck every bitch in Hollywood, right? If you're part of the elite cult, right? So all of those actresses, right, and men and women, okay, in Hollywood, and the politicians, you have to be available anytime anybody comes knocking, right? So if, let's just say, Donald Trump wants to have sex with you, right? Guess what? You have to have sex with Donald Trump, right? So therefore, right, I ain't doing that. That's disgusting. You know what I mean? But because of that, they get the benefits, they get the fame, the money, the big houses, the cars, the untouchability where they can never be arrested for anything that they do as well. Did you know you were being married into the cult? No, I did not. I thought I was trying to escape it. You know, a lot of this was hidden from me as a child, but I started to become more aware of Obama. I'll tell you my opinion on Obama in a minute. He's a dirty, rotten, baby-raping scoundrel. He's best buddies with Jeff Epstein, more so than Donald Trump. Okay? So no, I hate Barack Obama. But when he was president, I did feel like he did a decent job, at least forward facing, you know. But he's also like one of the antichrists. So I'm just not a fan, you know. I'm just not a fan of any of them. But he's a baby raper, so I cannot give a good, you know, anything on any of these guys. They're murderers. He's part of the Skull and Bones secret society. Which means that he kills children for fun, you know? And so I just can't get into that, right? I just don't have a good opinion about any of these people, right? They're evil. So as far as being married into the cult, no, I didn't figure out that the Jalot family were the Bidens until later. I thought, because what happened was I was working for McKinsey, which is the CIA. It's a consulting firm. They say it's a consulting firm, right? If you look on their website, it says that they're global consultants, and it's very, very elite. Okay, so they only hire as consultants 10%, the top 10% of Ivy League graduates. Those are the only ones that are invited to apply. You have to be in the top 10% of your graduating class at an Ivy League university in order to apply to be a consultant at McKinsey. So they tout themselves as the best and brightest in the whole entire world, okay? So I get recruited when I was working for the Epsteins in law, okay? I get recruited. I did not apply for a job there. They recruited me and lured me in, okay? So I didn't realize it was the CIA at first either, okay? But I figured it out later. So anyway, when I was there, they did so much. You wouldn't believe it. I was married, when I first started working there, and I thought I was happily married. I mean, I had a normal marriage. I'd been married for 5 years to someone that I actually cared about, right? And as soon as everything happened all at once, I leave my law firm, I start working at McKinsey, which is the CIA, and my husband starts acting funny, like real funny, out of nowhere, and we had a decent relationship for 5 years, 7 years. We dated for 2 years and married for 5. So I was like, I didn't understand what was happening, but he started not coming home after work. He started having to go on late night, emergency calls for work. And the kicker for me was he said he was going to a work conference in Orlando and he fucking disappeared. And that was not like him. He was a tech guy, so he always had his phone in his hand. It never was dead or anything like that. He always had his phone. So I could not reach him for, it was a long time. It was like a full day. He left at 7 o'clock in the morning. I texted him a couple times throughout the day. He didn't respond. And then that night, around 7 at night, I knew he was in a conference. So I tried to leave him alone, but he wasn't responding to my texts. So I called him, I'm like, hey, are you okay? What's going on? He wouldn't answer the phone, would not call me back, wouldn't return my texts, nothing. Right? So I called his work. I'm like, he had a coworker buddy that I had his friend or his number. And I'm like, have you heard from Ryan? And he's like, no, and I'm like, oh my God. So I'm thinking he got in a car wreck. He got arrested. Something happened to him. Of course, it's just not like him not to respond. And then I think it was around, oh God, I went, and again, it's a timeline's kind of funny. This was a long time ago, 15 years ago. But I went to work to my law firm, and I'm like, oh my God, my husband is missing, And so they're calling hospitals, calling police departments from here to Orlando, Sarasota to Orlando, trying to find him, right? We're all looking for Ryan, And then out of nowhere, around 11 a.m. or something, 24 hours, 27 hours later, he calls me, and he's like, what? I'm like, where were you? What are you doing? What is going on? He's like, I'm busy. I'm at this conference. I'm like, it was just so shocking, because he had never behaved that way before. But come to find out, he was having an affair. Now, he was having an affair with a girl named Erica. And what the CIA did is they sent in his dream girl. Okay, so Ryan likes black girls. Okay, so again, I don't know why he married me, because he's obviously not attracted to me, even though I am part black, but it is what it is, right? He prefers black girls, right? So he was having an affair with his dream girl, right? That was the love of his life. So he ended up leaving me, and I had to leave my own house that I owned and had paid for, all of my belongings, everything. I got kicked out, and she moved in 2 days later, And at the same time, the CIA sent in to me one of the consultants from McKinsey, and he was again, really handsome guy from South Africa, right? And wealthy, top 10% Ivy League grad guy, right? And we went on some dates. We dated lightly, right? I had my own apartment at this time and everything else. I had already moved out and moved, away from Ryan and all of that. So we dated casually. He was the first person I dated after my marriage and all this stuff. And we ended up not working out. It was just, he didn't have time for me. He wasn't interested in me. He was just when he would come into town, he would want to hang out with me, go out to dinner, go out for drinks, whatever, right? But aside from that, he would fly back. He was from San Francisco, but he was a consultant, so he also traveled all over the place, right? But he would fly back to San Fran, and then I wouldn't hear from him for a week. And then he'd be like, hey, I'm going to be in Tampa Thursday. Do you want to go to dinner? So yeah, I would hang out with him then, but he wouldn't even respond to my texts, if he wasn't in my physical presence. So it wasn't like we were in a relationship, And then the opportunity to go to Afghanistan came up. Well, actually, to leave McKinsey and work. First, I worked out of CENTCOM in Tampa. And then after that, Afghanistan. But the opportunity to work at CENTCOM or out of CENTCOM came up, and I took it. It was a better paying job. It was a better position. I went from being an assistant to a project analyst, so it was a promotion, a step up, and kind of just left everything behind. Right, I stopped seeing this guy. Did my own thing. I was living by myself in Tampa. And then 6 months after that, my contract at CENTCOM was up, and I had put my resume on out for bidding, basically, on a clearance, like it's a website for cleared individuals. And I got picked up by another company to go to Afghanistan. They emailed me and said, hey, do you want to go to Bagram? And I said, yeah, well, I've been trafficked my whole life. It's not that I've had bad luck. Is that Emmy's father? Not that I know of, right? I don't believe so. It's a complicated situation. I did not have sex with these people. Emmy's embryo was created just the same as mine was. Like I said, they used like Walt Disney's DNA, Whitney Houston's DNA, and other celebrities, right? And they created me. So with Emmy, they did the same thing, and that is what the Hollywood cult does. They create like their perfect little, bloodlines, right? They're worried about bloodlines. So I'm the Disney bloodline, and so is Emmy, because she is my biological child. But as far as her father is concerned, I have multiple fathers genetically, and guaranteed so does she. I've been told several different things, but one thing I do know is that Bill Jalot is not her father. But I have been told that she has 12 fathers genetically, which is like the fallen angels, basically. And this goes, again, it's very cult energy, right? But we are related to both the Trumps and the Bidens. So, yeah, I mean, technically, I should have Secret Service, and so should she, technically, right? But we're not authorized for that because we didn't join the cult, you see. But, yeah, and no, I haven't had bad luck with relationships. The CIA my whole life has been trying to control my every move because they want me to be part of their cult, right? The Hollywood cult. And I don't want anything to do with them because they're assholes, you see? And so they own me, essentially, right? Like, they own everything I do. So I'm only allowed to date people that they send in. They play matchmaker, right? They send in these narcissistic pieces of shit to come in and trick me, and they're all actors, right? They're actors. They're not like real, they're not actually interested in dating me. Every guy that I've been in a serious relationship with is gay, So they send in these gay actors that are part of the cult, and then that's where the bad luck comes from. But once I figured out that it was coming from the cult, and I actually like meeting these people by chance, I stopped dating. I just stopped completely. I went celibate and single and said, fuck it. I'm not going to date anybody, right? I don't want to be in a romantic relationship, because if I'm not allowed to date someone that's an actual compatible match, right, that I want to be with, right, then I just won't date at all, and that's fine. And that should have been okay. But I pissed off, these narcs, they get real butthurt when you reject them. So I pissed off the wrong ones. And again, being purchased, owned by the Bidens, essentially, right? They're mad because I don't want to date a Biden boy. Well, let's look at the lifestyle of the Biden boys, right? Is it conducive to my lifestyle? No, right? And they want me to fuck all of their friends, and I'm not doing that. And they want me to have orgies, and they want me to be totally fine with their criminal activity. I'm not doing it, right? I'd rather just be single and happy, right? And focused on my business and my cats and my daughter, right? And that should have been fine. But that's not how it works with narcissists, and it's not how it works in the cult. Once they identify you and they think that they own you, they feel like they have a right to just destroy you, prevent you from, you're not allowed to do anything unless you join the cult. Do I think I will ever date again? Well, the world is ending. The planet is destroyed, and extinction is happening now. So, to answer that question, no, I don't. But I'm fine with that, right? I don't want to date, and I don't need to be in a relationship. I'm very content and very independent. So I'm very self-sufficient and independent, if that makes sense. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything not being in a relationship. I would actually prefer to be single, simply because it's just easier for me, right? I don't need to worry about whatever anybody else is doing. I don't need to, worry about somebody cheating on me or betraying me, or I don't need to do, it's kind of selfish, but I was running a very successful business, and I was working 17 hours a day most days, so I did not have time to dedicate to a romantic relationship in addition to raising my child, so I just focused all my energy on that. And I told myself, maybe when Emmy is grown, in college, out of the house, maybe then I would think about dating. But the other issue is that it is too dangerous for my daughter to bring. After I dated Matt Gates, I got really, really duped by this asshole, right? Because he ended up being a heroin addict, and that's dangerous, right? People that are heroin addicts are dangerous people. They're very volatile, they're very unpredictable, and they're very, they'll do anything for heroin, And so I was so traumatized from that. I felt so bad having him anywhere near my daughter or in our home that I just said, just to be safe, I'm not going to date anybody else until she's an adult, because I don't want to run the risk of bringing another crackhead around my daughter, right? That was stupid, and I did not know, obviously. He plays it off like he's a very professional, polished guy, but no, and so, and again, nothing, I of course never left him unattended with her or anything like that, but the fact that she even had to know him, and then to go through like mommy breaking up with, I just said, fuck that. I'm not gonna put her through my relationships, I'm not gonna introduce her to anybody, you know what I mean? And so I just said, nah, I'll just be single. And so that's what I did. I decided not to get into any sort of serious romantic relationships with anyone, because I didn't want my daughter to go through that. I didn't want to expose her. I did end up introducing her. I didn't introduce her. She wouldn't remember Doug, but I dated the mayor of Bel Air Beach. When did I date him? Trying to think of the years. I left Village-a-Lot in 17, so it was that year. I moved into my own apartment in February. I started dating Matt in December, so I dated him from December of 17 until it was April of 2018. Or so. It was when I left my career. So maybe it was 2019. No, 2018. 2019. We weren't together that long. We were only together maybe half a year or so. Yeah, mama does have to protect her cubs. That's right. He started bringing drugs, and he started acting funny. Like, he drank quite a bit. And so I was used to people drinking. I had been around that a lot, and I drank myself as well. But, trying to think of how I realized he was on drugs. I remember I came home. I was at work at the law firm. I came home one day. I had a condo on the beach, and he was in the condo by himself, and I knew he was there. But when I got home, he had pulled everything out of my refrigerator, all of the food. I'm talking like the condiment bottles, everything, and the freezer too. And it was all over the kitchen. Like, the place looked like a bomb went off. And it clicked to me because I walked in the door and I was like, I'm like, what is this? Because it was trashed. I mean, it wasn't like he was organizing or anything. It was like he just trashed my house. And so it was the first time I realized there was something else going on besides drinking. And he was like laid out like a lot, you know. He would like fall and like into like a, you know, beyond drunk. It wasn't drunk, it was something else. And I asked him multiple times if he was on drugs. He had told me that he used to be addicted to heroin. Well, he said oxycodone or something like that because he had gotten a car accident. It's the same excuse every heroin addict has. The same excuse. I got hurt. I had to have surgery. I got addicted to the drugs, and now I'm on heroin, or I was on heroin. So when, you know, with him telling me that, and then seeing his behavior, I put two and two together. You know, he ended up getting arrested. I don't remember if he got arrested with drug possession or something, but at the end of it, he was bringing drugs into my home, and I kept finding them stashed in different places in my house. And again, this is another reason not to date while I have a small child, because drugs are not allowed in my home, right? And so for him to be doing that, you know, with my kid around, and I always have eyeballs on my kid, but she's a kid, you know, and she was like 5 years old at the time. So, I mean, you know, I think something bad could happen, right? And I just, right, no more. But I figured out, I can't remember how I figured out. I mean, I do remember finding drugs, different types, and he had all kinds of stuff too, different pills. He was drinking that like purple drink thing. All kinds of stuff, like anything you can think, any drug he could get, he was on it. I smoke and take shrooms every once in a while, but no hard stuff. Yeah, same here. Exactly the same here. I do smoke marijuana when I can get it. I mean, I rarely can get it, but when I can, I do use marijuana. But and I have taken shrooms before as well, one time. And then I just bought this like shroom vape thing, but it doesn't actually have shrooms in it. It was on sale, so I ended up getting it. It doesn't do anything at all. It just like has like chemicals in it. Basically, it tastes like shit. But yeah, that's the same here. I have a medical marijuana prescription from Florida, and I wasn't a marijuana user prior to that. But with the marijuana, I was able to get off of all my prescription drugs. You know, I was on high blood pressure medication, gabapentin, other stuff for anxiety as well, and I was able to drop all prescription drugs and just use marijuana, and it worked really well for me. I built my whole business, you know, on medical marijuana as well, and so it just works good with my brain chemistry. It doesn't make me like a vegetable, like it actually does something different to my brain. It makes me more creative and energizes me, if, you know, depending on the strain and stuff like that. But I love marijuana. I think it's an amazing drug that's been demonized, of course, throughout the years. They demonize everything good. Xanax. I had a Xanax prescription for a long time. Probably 10 years or so. But that being said, you know, Xanax is a really horrendous drug, right? I was never, my prescription was like 0.5 milligram once a day or twice a day, depending on, I mean, throughout the years, like I said, I was on it for about 10 years, so it changed, you know, over the years. I never had a problem with it. I never took it off label or misused it or snorted it or did anything to abuse the drug. I was never dependent on it, although Xanax is one of those things where it works really well. And so it can become a crutch, right? But I never had an addiction to Xanax where it was like if I didn't take it, I would have seizures or go into, you know, I was never like, where's the Xanax, you know? I mean, if I was stressed out and didn't have it, obviously, you know, it's a crutch. So you take a Xanax, you feel a lot better almost instantly. So I liked it for that reason, but I never abused Xanax, if that makes sense. I'm lucky because I know a lot of people get prescriptions for Xanax and then become addicted to it and start to abuse it as well. In the US, there is no value for relationships, right? I feel that. But in other Asian countries, like in India, people are so kind and more family oriented. So to answer the question, did I drop it cold turkey? Yes. Yep, I didn't have to. I wasn't on a high enough dose to require like a tapering, if that makes sense. I just, as a matter of fact, I had a full bottle of it that I ended up, I don't know where that went actually. I lost all of my stuff. But I had a full bottle, in my possession that I didn't take, you know what I mean? So I did drop it cold turkey with medical marijuana. So I don't know if that's cold turkey or not. I guess I kind of like went from one thing to another. But because of the marijuana, I didn't need it anymore. And then in the U.S., there's no value really. No, there's really not. At least not in my experience. But I come from a different background than most people. I see other people that have like families, and I'm like, wow, that must be nice. Like I'm looking at one now, the mom, the dad, the kid. So it seems like I don't know what goes on in their home, but it seems like they place some value on like their own communities, but I'm not part of anything here. So I don't have anybody or anything except my daughter in the U.S. to kind of like base it on. I was, totally ousted from society, the country, my family, my friends, my colleagues, every single person in my life did their own thing in life and just forgot about me or intentionally betrayed me. Now again, you've got the cult offering them money to kill me, so that has a lot to do with it, but it's okay. Like I said, I don't hurt over this. I don't grieve over this. This is something I have had plenty of time to digest and accept. And actually, it's really nice because like I don't have to go to like any like shitty, like how you used to have to go like to like Thanksgiving, and it's so stressful because the family is like bickering and there's narcs and there's shitty people, and I don't have to deal with any of that, right? Holidays, I do whatever the hell I want. And sometimes that's go out to eat, or sometimes that's go take my kid to Disney. I just built a life with my daughter, a really nice, like functioning life where we have a very healthy, non-toxic household, and so I became very not only content with not having friends and family, but also I enjoy it. You know what I mean? So I don't know about these folks. I don't know about their interpersonal relationships other than like kind of, story times on YouTube and stuff like that. I get a general idea, but I don't converse with them. I don't have any dealings with anybody. So it looks like they have nice family units, but I wouldn't know, right? I don't have biological brothers or sisters. Well, I do, but the ones that are from the cult are not actually biologically related to me. And no, I do not speak to the whole family turned their back on me because they were paid off. Remember, I'm Christina-Disney, so I inherited the Walt Disney Corporation. They stole it, right? And so they all took big payouts. But part of the deal with that is that they can never speak to me again. So they, all of a sudden one day, the whole family just stopped speaking to me. They sold me into the Diddy ring. And they got a lot of money for that, right? So they took a lot of money, but they also took that oath to Satan and to the cult to never speak to me again. So no, I don't speak to anybody from my past, and I haven't spoken to these people in years. It has been several years. I'm trying to think, the last time I spoke to a family member would have been probably in 2022. I saw my cousin in Atlanta briefly for lunch. But other than that, I speak to no one, and no one speaks to me. I reached out to them when they started the human trophy hunt. I was like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, of course you reach out to your family. I was trying to get help. But they ignored me or blew me off, or, it took me a minute to realize, like, oh my God, because it was a different side of the family. It was the maternal side, whereas the paternal side was the Hollywood side. And so I realized then, okay, so they linked up, and they're all CIA military anyway, but they all ganged up on me basically so that they could steal the inheritance and live happily ever after off of my blood money. And so, no, I don't speak to them, and I will never speak to them again. You can rest assured. But they're not my brothers and sisters. These are just sub-creatures. They're Nazi bots that are not related to me in any way, and that I haven't seen or spoken to in a very long time, and I don't have any relationship with. I have no bond or ties to these people, so I don't consider them family or siblings or anything like that. No, and I would never do that either. All right, love, I've got to run. I have to charge my phone for a little bit because the battery wasn't that charged when I started this, but I'll be back on a little later. Have a great day, and fingers crossed that California cracks in half, that Yellowstone erupts, that some major fucking natural disaster happens ASAP so that I can get out of this Epstein ring. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.